The Take Back Manufacturing Initiative is a consortium or forum of like-minded associations and societies that are dedicated to the restoration of our manufacturing sectors, predominantly in Ontario, but pretty much Canada. And we're very involved also with the U.S. Reshoring Initiative, and we've been in this particular initiative since 2011. And we basically used it to communicate the status of manufacturing with other organizations that are providing data. And we got a significant website, www.sme-tbm.org, that provides a significant amount of information about where manufacturing is going and the various components that are necessary for the manufacturing restoration in Canada. It's been diminishing for at least the last 3 decades. We've lost probably, at least in the last decade, 25% of our capacity in manufacturing. If you look at pretty much every factor, whether it be trade deficit, share, and contribution to the economy, it's depressing, actually, in a lot of ways, when you consider that we've been so reliant on resources for so long, and now those are somewhat in decline. We've nothing to back ourselves up. We're now at the mercy of our of a lack of balance, and I think most Canadians in the street see that. They see less opportunities in manufacturing for employment, and also just the prosperity factors in the country being in jeopardy. I've been in manufacturing for 50 years, or 50 plus years. Started at 16, full British engineering apprenticeship, pretty much a manufacturing engineer, but I've been in a management and consulting role, and I'm an author of a book on productivity. I've had a great career. Manufacturing's been good to me, and I'm really concerned about what the next generation's opportunities in manufacturing will look like. The book's called Cycle Time Management, Fast Track to Productivity Improvement. It's an old book. It was written in the early 90s, and it was really written before lean manufacturing became the buzzword, but it is about lean manufacturing. And it was one of the books that most universities used to start the journey towards understanding what lean was about. Lean is a universal leverage point for any waste elimination in any business, which is one of the things we've got to do better. Obviously, the more you can be lean and get rid of waste in your business, the more you can compete. You got to do that intelligently so you don't, cut bone or lose functionality. But it goes hand in hand with technology. In fact, most technologies require a handshake with lean so that you do the right things, or you automate waste. You can automate waste very quickly and spend capital on things that really shouldn't be there in the first place. In my career, I grew up in the aerospace industry in England. Came to Canada actually to work on the space shuttle, and then moved into high-tech electronics. Of course, Motorola was one of the corporations in the 80s that was the place to be. And we had a great career building most of the stuff that you now see managing the networks in banks. So we were actually doing a lot of the network products. But the electronics in the 80s was exciting. It was a high-growth industry, and we were doing a lot of learning to do things differently. And quite frankly, we evolved from traditional manufacturing to a very modern state of manufacturing through those 80s. If you look at most of the things that people consider to be the new ways to do things, they were invented in the 80s and are only now being applied in some industries. In the beginning, as part of a larger consulting group, I worked for large corporations. We were partnered with Boston Consulting Group. We worked for Procter & Gamble, Eveready Batteries, those folks. But now, quite frankly, I work for a lot of mid-sized, small and medium-sized enterprises that really need a lot of help to move their game plan up a notch or two. I spent 6 years in China moving product to China, and have a lot of friends in China, but I was dismayed when I came back with just how hollowed out our manufacturing base had become. And quite frankly, about 80% of our manufacturing base is small. It's in 50,000 square feet, 50 people, which really is a small and medium-sized enterprise. So those are the folks that need to be able to compete. And most of them actually have their own product sets. About 60% of those folks actually have autonomy of new products, so they need to actually compete globally, or at least make sure that they're competitive with whoever else is in the market. And that's the challenge, and they need all the help they can get. along the way, I get approached to assist with either strategically planning the product set or understanding the market, certainly if it's an industrial product. And this particular, I've done a couple of things, starting up a 3D metal printing business was one, and then this is also now moving into an opportunity that's associated with the Internet of Things, what we call cyber physical systems. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people here that need help, and it's a combination. You need a combination of very young people that are aggressive and don't fear anything, and old guys like me that may be able to help them along the way.